Evening, Frank, Jackie, and Luke. I'm going to read a bit more of the story to you. I'll get started straight away. Hopefully, I'll get a bit more done. Coraline didn't think there was really a mouse circus. She thought the old man was probably making it up. The day after they moved in, Coraline went exploring. She explored the garden. It was a big garden. At the very back was an old tennis court, but no one in the house played tennis. And at the fence round the court had holes in it, and the net had mostly rotted away. There was an old rose garden filled with stunted, flybone rose bushes. There was a rockery that was all rocks, and there was a fairy ring made of squidgy brown toadstools which smelled dreadful if you accidentally trod on them. There was also a well. On the first day Coraline's family moved in, Miss Spinks and Miss Forcible made a point of telling Coraline how dangerous this well was, and they warned her to be sure she kept away from it. So Coraline set off to explore for it, so that she knew where it was to keep away from it properly. She found it on the third day in an overgrown meadow beside the tennis court, behind a clump of trees, a low brick circle almost hidden in the high grass. The well had been covered up by wooden boards to stop anyone falling in. There was a small knot hole in one of the boards, and Coraline spent an afternoon dropping pebbles and acorns through the hole, and waiting and counting until she heard the plop as they hit the water far below. Coraline also explored for animals. She found a hedgehog and a snake skin, but no snake, and a rock that looked just like a frog, and a toad that looked just like a rock. There was also a haughty black cat who would sit on the walls and the tree stumps and watch her, but would slip away if she ever went over to try to play with it. That was how she spent her first 2 weeks at the house, exploring the garden and the grounds. Her mother made her come back inside for dinner and for lunch, and Coraline had to make sure she was dressed up warmly before she went out, for it was a very cold summer that year, but to go out she did, exploring every day until the day it rained, when Coraline had to stay inside. "What shall I do?" Coraline asked. "Read a book," her mother said. "Watch a video, play with your toys, go and pester Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, or the crazy old man upstairs." "No," said Coraline, "I don't want to do those things. I want to explore." "I don't really mind what you do," said Coraline's mother, "as long as you don't make a mess." Coraline went over to the window and watched the rain come down. It wasn't the kind of rain you could go out in. It was the other kind, the kind that threw itself down from the skies and splashed where it landed. It was rain that meant business, and currently its business was turning the garden into a muddy, wet soup. Coraline had watched all the videos. She was bored with her toys, and she read all her books. She turned on the television. She went from channel to channel to channel, but there was nothing on but men in suits talking about the stock market and sports programs. Eventually, she found something to watch. It was the last half an hour of a natural history program about something called protective colorization. She watched animals, birds, and insects which disguised themselves as leaves or twigs or other animals to escape from things that could hurt them. She enjoyed it, but it ended too soon and was followed by a program about a cake factory. It was time to talk to her father. Coraline's father was at home. Both her parents were doing things on computers, which meant that they were at home a lot. Each of them had their own study. "Hello, Coraline," he said when she came in without turning round. Said Coraline. "It's raining." "Yep," said her father. "It's bucketing down." "No," said Coraline, "it's just raining. Can I go outside?" "What does your mother say?" "She says You're not going out in weather like that, Caroline Jones. Then no, said her father. But I want to carry on exploring, Caroline said. Then explore the flat, suggested her father. Look, here's a piece of paper and a pen. Count all the doors and all the windows. List everything blue. Mount an expedition to discover the hot water tank and leave me alone to work. Can I go in the drawing room? The drawing room was where the Joneses kept their expensive and uncomfortable furniture. Caroline's grandmother had left them when she had died. Caroline wasn't allowed to go in there. Nobody went in there. It was only for the best. If you don't make a mess and you don't touch anything. Caroline considered this carefully. She took the paper and the pen and went off to explore the inside of the flat. She discovered the hot water tank. It was in the cupboard in the kitchen. She counted everything blue, 153. She counted the windows, 21 windows. She counted the doors, 14 doors. Of the doors, she found 13 open and closed. The big carved brown wooden door at the far corner of the drawing room, was locked. She said to her mother, "Where does that door go?" "Nowhere, dear." "It has to go somewhere." Her mother shook her head. "Look," she told Caroline. She reached up and took a string of keys from the top of the kitchen door frame. She sorted through them carefully and selected the oldest, biggest, blackest, rustiest key. They went into the drawing room. She unlocked the door with the key. The door swung open. Her mother was right. The door didn't go anywhere. It opened on the brick wall. When this place was just one house, Caroline's mother, this door went somewhere. When they turned the house into flats, they simply bricked it up. The other side is an empty flat on the other side of the house, the one that's still for sale. She shut the door and put the string of keys back on top of the kitchen door frame. "You didn't lock it," said Caroline. Her mother shrugged. "Why should I lock it?" she asked. "It doesn't go anywhere." Caroline didn't say anything. It was nearly dark now, and the rain was still coming down, pattering against the windows and blurring the lights of the cars in the street outside. Caroline's father stopped working and made them all dinner. Caroline was disgusted. "Daddy," she said, "you've made a recipe again." "It's leek and potato stew with a tarragon garnish and melted Gruyere cheese," he admitted. Caroline sighed. She went to the freezer and got out some microwave chips and a microwave mini pizza. "You know I don't like those recipes," she told her father, while her dinner went round and round and the little red numbers on the microwave counted down to 0. "If you tried it, maybe you'd like it," said Caroline's father, but she shook her head. "Good night, Frankie. Good night, boys. Love you loads."